You have done it. You have finally made me make this video for so long. It's been years now. Everyone asks me in some way or another on every platform, how do you protect manga? How do I stop yellowing? How do I get rid of this? How do I fix this? What do I do? My manga, I want to protect my manga. And I'm telling you all the tips, all the tricks, all the ways to keep your manga safe. And I'm even going to show you a couple products and things that will make your life easier when protecting your manga. So first things first, the most simple one that we all probably know about, and if you don't, you're gonna know right now, and that is the big fireball in the sky, the sun. The sun is wonderful. It keeps us alive and nice and toasty, but when it comes to books and other things, the UV rays can harm your manga. Now, it's fine to read your manga in the sun. You can have your manga in the sun some, but if it's going to be constantly in the sun, the UV rays will start yellowing your manga, and it can vary over time from a little yellowing to a lot of yellowing. But also, one of the biggest things, if your manga is in the sun a lot, even if it's not touching the edges or the actual paper in the manga, is fading. The sun will fade your manga facing the main windows. So the most simple thing you can do is limit your manga's sunlight. Your manga does not need to be tan. Your manga wants to stay out of the sun if it's going to be longer periods of time. If you have a windowless room, or you have a room that you can block out the sun from the windows, the majority of the time that will be the best. You can use blackout curtains or block it with something, or angle your bookshelves so the sun, when it comes in, it does not beam right onto them. Next up, and this one is more important than the sun in my opinion, and that is humidity. Too much humidity can hurt your manga and will speed up the manga process of yellowing, and even in extreme cases can get mold, fungus, things like that. You don't want that on any of your stuff, let alone the manga. Also, on the flip side, if you don't have enough humidity, that can be bad for your books. Also, it is too dry. It can make your pages brittle. It can make your manga brittle and dry it out. If you live in a certain climate and it is way too dry, you will need a humidifier to get it to at least 50%. You want to be in that middle range. And if there's too much humidity where you're at, you will need a dehumidifier to bring it down. It goes both ways. Let's keep rolling here. Next, I want to touch upon smoke and dust. If you are smoking in your house, you might want to have a filter, some type of filter system, and even a better filter system on your furnace or your AC. If you are smoking in your house, you may want to choose to do it away from your manga. Over time, the smoke will deteriorate and stick to your manga and make it smell a certain way. If you're ever going to get rid of it or sell it, it will have smoke damage over time. Now, when it comes to dust on your manga, the dust can get all over it. Obviously, the top is the main spot where the dust is going to land and start getting into your pages, and it's going to start hurting your manga. You don't want dust and dirt in your manga. More things that can hurt it and speed up deterioration over time. Though when you have dust, make sure you're cleaning it carefully. You're not just getting a rough rag or something and just scraping the top of your pages in your manga. I use like a Scifier or feather duster thing that's real soft and wavy, and I can just zip on past everything and it gets in all nooks and crannies if I need to. Super easy. So next up, another way to protect your manga from getting damaged and or warped is something just as simple as putting your manga away. Here I have a volume and I do have this space. I am able to push and make space to get it in here. But here is the problem. I start pushing it in and it's a little too tight. And here I'll show you up top. That is a no-no. Not only is it hurting this previous volume, as you can see with splits here, it's pushing against this volume too. So the more I force it in, you see it just splitting. Now it will even out and I can jimmy that in, but now I just caused an issue, and it is miserably too tight. So if I want to pull it out, I literally have to stick a finger here and drag it out, which can hurt the bottom, crimp it, and put damage on it over time. So it's not good. I can't get a finger in for the life of me. That is why you've seen my volume up top. And this gives you a good idea. There's a gap in here, but just waving your fingers back and forth, it disappears. And there's no big gaps anywhere, showing that I had plenty of space for them to breathe, but not enough to put manga in there, which can damage your manga over time. Setting manga on top like this, not a big deal. Now, if I had 30 volumes up on top, it can push down on the tops of your manga and make them bend or wave. Now, over here, you're gonna see a lot of manga, and this is manga that needs to be put away. Now, in general, this manga is not gonna have any problems or issues. It's when you start getting stacks that are too high or too heavy that can start affecting certain volumes at the bottom. As you can see here, this volume right here may look okay. It's actually angled and slanted inwards, so the spine is not correctly on the bottom. Is it the biggest deal? Not really, but over time it can harm it. You have to correct it and straighten it out and make sure the weight you're putting on your vertical manga is nice and uniform. Now, when it comes to vertically stacking your manga on other vertically stacked manga, you can see that this is a problem right here. Now, this is a problem that was a self-made problem to show you the idea. We have heavier volumes pushing down diagonal on these volumes, bending them. We have these volumes up here diagonal pushing down, which can crimp edges and over time mess up your spines. So if you are going to stack manga like this, which in my opinion, it's one of the worst ways to stack, which is why you don't see people do it often or at all. These are just mountains of manga that I use for giveaways and are for sale. So I was just showing you them. Now, this is not ideal either, but in my opinion, this is slightly better than the vertical on vertical. You get more points touching, spreads out, better distribution of weight. Okay, welcome to the desk view here. I have some things to show you that can make your manga collection last longer. Now, this is not for everyone, and I will explain. To give you a quick idea here, I'm going to be showing you a few things you can do to preserve your manga for storage and to have less dust on it, and slight ways to preserve your manga for the longer term. Now, this is not for everyone. As you can see here, I have two manga. Now, this one is shrink wrapped. I'll get to that in a second. Now, right here, as you can see, we'll just get straight into it. The middle one here, now this is an older Tokyo Pop volume. This is what I would consider a light yellow hue on it. It definitely stands out a lot more when you have two volumes with different quality paper right beside it. Now, the paper quality matters. This book is by Ablaze Manga, and they use a different quality and type of paper. There's tons of different papers, so not all manga deteriorate and not all manga yellow at the same speed. So to start things off, as you can see, this one, as you can hopefully see, you might be able to tell, this is shrink wrapped. Now, I did not buy this shrink wrapped. I shrink wrapped this myself. I bought this pack of shrink wrap bags that just happened to be great for manga, if that's what you want to do. Now, in my personal opinion, I am closing on 5,000 volumes if I'm not already there, and I have 0 of my manga shrink wrap. I have 0 of my manga in loose bags. There are loose bags that you can put your manga in, similar to this. They have a little bit tighter fit, but you get the idea. Now, if you go to a Kinokuniya, their manga is shrink wrapped, and I do like that. When I go in and buy a manga and it is shrink wrapped, I know I'm getting a manga that is not going to be covered in dust, that's not been touched by 1,000 kids with Cheeto dust all over their hands, and will be generally in better quality, and you can take that how you want. So I'm gonna show you how to shrink wrap a book here. I have this Tokyo Pop Cyborg 009 book, and while I don't actually want this volume shrink wrapped, I'm doing it for science. This shrink wrapping stuff is pretty dang flimsy, and I'm not exactly sure the best way to do it, if I should keep it in the middle or not. We're gonna try keeping it in the middle. I'm just gonna fold down this top. Now, as you can see here, I have a heat gun. I'm going to recommend you do not use a heat gun, please. This is a more professional tool. This is not the right thing you want to use for using on manga and shrink wrapping. I just did not have a hairdryer nearby. Please use a hairdryer. This is too much heat, even on the low setting. This will burn your manga. This will start a fire, but I'm going to be using I'm going to be using it safe. I have already tried this. So the good thing is when you buy these packs, you get a lot of these. So if you mess up or you want to try the best way to do it, you know, you got plenty of chances. I'm going to try the in the middle technique. Let's see how this works. Okay, the key is to keep it moving. I'm sure if you had a hairdryer, you could hold it in one place a little longer. The heat gun is way too hot, so it has to be moved around really fast. So it did shrink up pretty good. Now I have these like blobs here, so maybe you could trim the edges when you're putting these on, or put the manga towards the edge in there. But it worked pretty well, and I would be okay with this, because if I'm shrink wrapping this, I want it more protected, or I'm putting it away for the long haul. I'm putting it in storage where I don't want humidity to easily get to it if it's going to be put away for a long period of time. So I think this is a decent way of doing that. 100 bags for like $6, and there might be cheaper and or better ones out there. Now there's 2 more ways to seal your manga from dust and for storage. I do not have the other manga sealing bags, but they would go something like this. They would be in a bag similar to this. I think they would be a little shorter here, and you would just flip them over and put a little piece of tape or something on them and stick it on the shelf or in storage, and there you go for that. Now for the one person who foams at the mouth when plastic touches their manga, I'm assuming you already left the chat, but you might want to run for the hills, or you're gonna need that rabies shot, because you can also get, if you want to dump money and put your manga in a super hard plastic case, you can send it to Beckett to either get it graded or just to protect it and stick it in this, and you don't have to get it graded. It just gets put in this super hard thing. You will not be able to take it out to read your manga without breaking it. In my strong opinion, it would not be worth this unless you have something extremely rare that you want to keep and display, and you would rather read a cheaper copy, a second copy, or not read it at all. And last but certainly not least, I found something cool. I don't know if anybody knows about these or not. Check this out. This is a rigid plastic, sealable, harder plastic case for manga. I found these on eBay. They come like this, and this is a plastic that goes over them that you can peel them off. It keeps fingerprints and all that on them. I found these on eBay, and I think they're super cool. And I think these are more reasonable if you have a rare volume. So this Dr. Slump volume 16 I have here is easily over. If I just wanted a little extra protection, if it didn't have the shrink wrap already on it, or I wanted to protect it from dings, bumps, and dents, you just stick it in here and you shut it, and you can even put a piece of tape over it, and look at that. That actually looks pretty dang crispy. Let's set those aside, and I just want to show you, because on camera it seems hard to see. This is such a nice fit, and it's nice and protected, that if I had to, or I wanted to, put my manga in anything, I would put them in these. This will give you an idea of how it looks up against other manga that are not in a hard protective case. It does not add too much to it, maybe like 1/8 of an inch or a smidge more in height. So this may be something I may use, and it also is something that I would definitely use for shipping. So I think I'm just gonna keep this Dr. Slump in here. This Dr. Slump's worth money. I have it for sale, and I don't mind keeping it in there to ship, and it's gonna be even more hecka protected. I give these a double thumbs up. I am telling you right now to all of your faces, manga does not last forever. It is paper. It will yellow no matter what you do. These are all ways to prolong yellowing, deterioration, and your manga getting damaged. It may happen in a week, or it may not even happen in your lifetime, which is the goal. So just take care of your manga and make sure you follow these steps. But the number one way to protect your manga and make it last forever and for you to be the happiest person on earth is to smash that like button. I will see you all next time.